The grape production in Germany is dominated by white varieties. In 2020, we had approximately 67% white, so a bit more than two-thirds relating on white varieties, and 33% are based on red varieties. Furthermore, about the structure, Germany had just under 16,000 wine growers in 2016, and approximately half of them were owning 3 hectares or even less. So comparatively small viticulturists. The number of growers has fallen by over 20% since 2010 and is still declining, despite we have in the same time frame a slight increase in the area under vine. So this is mainly going back to the fact that the existing wineries, they tend still to grow, and smaller wineries and part-time wineries, they are tending to disappearing. And it's also that the cooperatives tend to lose more and more of their initial members. Coming specifically now to the Mosel, the best vineyards in that region are located in the steep south-facing slopes. Work in the vineyards here in those steep slopes, in these small terraces, is quite labor intensive. It's not uncommon to spend 1,500 hours per hectare, sorry. So compared to flat mechanized vineyards, way more than double the amount of working hours that you spend there. Half of the vineyards are on steep and terraces sites in the Mosel with an slope of over 30 degrees. Some planted are at even 70-degree gradient. So really super steep vineyards. For centuries, growers followed their own distinctive methods for staking and training vines. To the right-hand bottom side, you see here the typical heart-shaped way of shoot positioning, which is traditional for the Mosel, which allows, without a wire, passing the vine either down the hill but also parallel to the slope, which makes your life a bit easier while working under these super steep conditions. In the Mosel, whites are clearly dominating. Riesling here with more than 60% is the major white variety, but we also have some others, and just 10% in the Mosel, and that's just coming from recent years, are related or going back to red plantings. Rheingau has yields that are lower than the average of other German wine growing regions. The best vineyards are situated in steep slopes around Rüdesheim, Geisenheim, Johannisberg, Hattenheim, and Erbach. The sites on the mid slopes are thought to be the best conditions for dry wines receiving the influence from the river, but far enough away to avoid too much humidity there, not to get problems with fungal diseases here. So the microclimate here also differs clearly while you go up or down the slope. In Rheingau, we have approximately 86% are planted with whites, 14% with reds, and Riesling is with more than 80% in that region, sorry, 78% and more, the by far dominating variety here. We're looking over the map here of Germany and its different soil regions. You see that we have, in those specific regions that we were discovering now, the Mosel and the Rheingau, and domination by schist soils. But Rheingau then is also, while you are moving eastwards, going into more less loam and sandy, less coined area. So vineyards in Germany are planted on a wide variety of soils. In the Mosel and in the Ahr, dark-colored schist or slate retains the heat from the day, saves it over the night, so buffering a bit colder night temperatures. In Baden, Pfalz, Rheinhessen, and Franken, there are significant pockets of really calcareous soils, also definitely delivering here complete different styles of wines. In steep slopes, such as in the Mosel and in Rheingau, erosion is a major problem here due to the fact that it is that steep, and we can have, especially due to climate change, more and more severe rain events. The erosion tends to be a growing problem here. So the Mosel, nevertheless, can be categorized a bit more in detail by three different regions. The Upper Mosel, so the most southern part, which is starting at the French-Luxembourgish border. Schengen, you might know from a famous contract, but it's also a small wine growing region here, opposite side of Perl in Luxembourg. So this region there is dominated by dolomite with soils of shell, limestone, marl, and so-called Keuper. It's still more or less belonging to the basin of Paris, the soils there. Then the Middle Mosel later on starts where the Saar is floating into the Mosel, and then northwards there the soils are coined by dark Devonian slate, mostly weathered slate soils with a very high stone content, so they are quite stone rich, which clearly influences the microclimate, but also the water holding capacity of that soils, which is quite low, and they are not really delivering vigorous conditions for the vine. And then while you go furthermore down to the delta of the Mosel, or where it is floating into the Rhine, the lower Mosel, you see a bit more calcareous sandstone, slit and quartzite sandstone soils. They also contain a high proportion of stones, so also here low vigor for the vine. Which are the predominant soil types in Rheingau? Although the region is quite small compared to others and is not stretched in a very long distance, there are many kinds of soils, including chalk, sand, gravel, and all types of clay, loess, and quartzite and slate soils. The upper Rheingau soils are characterized by sediments of predominantly times marl, gravel, sand, loam, and clay. And then the steep slope vineyards, which are a bit more known for high-end Riesling wines, between Rüdesheim and Lorschhausen, they are based on slate, quartz, gravel, and also sandstone. And here, way less vigor for the vine again, bit more stress, less water available. In the lower Rheingau, lower Devonian sandstone prevailed along quartzite and shale in the mostly medium steep soils. Sorry.